last week was kind of an off week for NXT. This week, yeah, not so much. What's going on, everybody? It's your buddy, it's your pal Spaz, Phoenix, the YWC Reality Check, here with your September 27th NXT review. A little more house cleaning to get out of the way other than usual. Obviously, go back, check out my previous episodes of NXT review, check out my review of the Mae Young Classic if you haven't. Q&A I could plug right now, but I'm going to be doing it tomorrow, so unless you get them in early tomorrow morning, you might be waiting for the next one. But more importantly is the pay-per-view Pick 'em, No Mercy. Not going to spend a whole lot of time on No Mercy because we're talking about NXT tonight. No Mercy was interesting, to say the least. Cesaro is a fucking beast who wrestles for 20 minutes with his teeth shoved halfway up into his face. But the pay-per-view Pick 'em is getting to be a lot more fun. Pay-per-view Pick 'em coming out of the preview that we did, myself, Guapo, Kristen. Go check it out now if you want to see our really out-of-date predictions. I did really bad. I only made 5 points. Kristen wasn't much better than me. She got 10, Guapo got 14. So did Cheney815, who's actually going by another screen name right now that I can't off the top of my head think of, so I'm sorry for that. One of my coworkers from work, Alex, got 18. Melvin Michaels got 22. So did the Turnbuckle Takedown. Welcome to the Pick'em for them. First time they've been involved. And Mizark 10 enters the winner's circle at 27 points for the first time. You check out all the list of winners in the description box below if you want lots of fun. No rest for the wicked, though, as far as the pay-per-view Pick'em goes. In 2 weeks, actually more like a week and a half now, we will be doing the Tackle and Pick'em for Hell in the Cell, where I'm going to be giving a lot of opinions, especially on the Jinder Mahal, Shinsuke Nakamura situation, and most of those situations, as is usually the case, are not going to make me very popular, but I'm not really on YouTube to be popular, clearly. As I say, stay tuned tomorrow night. All things being equal, I will be putting up the September edition of the Ask the Phoenix Q&A. Also, lots of fun. Should be a good time. Regal starts off tonight's show with a backstage segment announcing that the TakeOver Houston women's match for the vacated women's championship will be a fatal four-way consisting of Kairi Sane and 3 other women that are going to be established over the next couple of weeks with various triple threat matches that are coming along. Now, when I originally heard about this, I read some of the results, and I can remember some of who won and some of who didn't win. I don't like doing the spoiler thing, but when I saw this, it was kind of one of those, I'll make an exception to the rules type of thing. I don't remember who all 3 women are. I'm not going to say it here. Somebody in my audience might be a spoiler Nazi and might get mad at me. So that's that. I don't dislike it because once you take Asuka out of the equation, Asuka was the champion. Asuka was the champion and everybody else was everybody else. Now it's sort of a rebirth for the entire division because they put so much behind Asuka. So you want to put the spotlight on more than one other person. I get it. You've got enough spotlight on Kairi Sane. She had an entire tournament basically dedicated to her getting that spot. Now you've got all these other people winning triple threat matches to get in. I do think, from the perspective of pushing Kairi Sane, it should be a one-on-one match because whether she wins or loses, it should be a definite spotlight for her. Now she's only 1/4 of the match. I don't know how I feel about that, and I probably won't know how I feel about that until it happens. But I mean, the chances of them putting in the people that I want to see are not very good because I don't think it's going to be, you know, Aaliyah versus Nikki Cross versus Ruby Riott versus Kairi Sane. I just don't think WWE loves me that much, to be quite honest with you. I don't think they're going to throw Liv Morgan into that scenario either, who we're going to talk about in a second. But after, in the ring, what we have is Sanity storming the ring as the opening music for NXT is still going. Eric Young cuts a short and sweet promo. Everybody knows on the graphic when the show starts that it's going to be Eric Young versus the debuting Adam Cole, baby! So, and yes, I'm going to mock that until it's not funny anymore, and it still is, to me anyway, because I think they all sound like retards. Moving on. But, I've always said, you know, here's these guys from ROH that everybody seems to be mighty high on, I'm not going to say anything until I see them in the ring. I saw Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly make their debuts. Individually, they got squashed, and I saw them debut as a tag team, and they are impressive, don't get me wrong. I mean, one of them looks inbred, but we're going to get there when we get there. Eric Young starts his promo talking about the guys from ROH making their mark, which is pretty generic. I think it's so funny that a group as crazy as Sanity is the baby faces in this scenario. Can you imagine on the main roster WWE trying to make the Wyatt family a babyface team? I mean, they were a babyface team in the aspect of we liked them. We were a babyface team in the aspect of they were going up against people we didn't like Sheamus and John Cena and Randy Orton, etc. And Kane, who still was trying to wrestle at that point. But they are legitimately the baby faces, and you talk about the ROH guys, and I'm going to call them the ROH guys, because the Undisputed Era is a retarded name for a faction. So they are the guys from ROH. Fuck off. They talk about the guys from ROH making their mark, but Sanity wrote the book on making your mark in NXT. What matters is chaos, the only thing for sure is change, and I'm going to take Adam Cole to the edge of Sanity. Love the cliche, it's all good, sets us up for later on in the night. Short, sweet, and to the point, and Raw and SmackDown could learn from this. Raw is infamous for this, you know, Miz TVs and all that. Can I just take a second to roll my eyes at Roman Reigns on Miz TV and the fact that we all know where that is going? If it's going where I think it's going, there's going to be comparisons drawn between Roman Reigns and the Ultimate Warrior. And if that doesn't make you vomit in your mouth just a little bit, then obviously we're not on the same wavelength. Lars Sullivan versus Oney Lorcan. Now, what can I say about this? I love this, because Oney Lorcan is, you know, tough, ugly, street bruiser type guy, and so's Danny Burch, who we're going to talk about in a second. Lars Sullivan is out there killing everybody. So these three guys together, I swear to God, they did not put Oney Lorcan versus Danny Burch, the third match, on the last TakeOver, which was a really big misstep, in my opinion. If you put all three of these guys in a triple threat match at TakeOver Houston and just let them brawl, that might steal the show. And I'm just putting that one out there. But Oney Lorcan cuts a promo in the back about how he doesn't like how Lars Sullivan goes around picking on people that can't defend themselves, like No Way Jose, which is funny. Because as much as I make fun of No Way Jose, he's like a 6-foot-something big motherfucker in his own right. He's not exactly James Ellsworth. So the fact that Oney Lorcan, without even really meaning to, made No Way Jose sound pretty petty and pathetic, made me smile a whole bunch. But this match was fun. This match was not a squash. Headlock by Lorcan, slam by Sullivan, back elbow by Lorcan, and a kitchen sink by Sullivan, dropkick by Lorcan, and Sullivan tosses Lorcan out of the ring. Forearm by Lorcan, suicide dive was caught by Sullivan, and he turned it into a snake eyes on the ring, or on the rim of the apron. Now, here's where I have to compare this to SmackDown. Sami Zayn took another apron powerbomb last night on SmackDown, and that was enough to stop the match. Now, you got somebody the size of Lars Sullivan ramming Oney Lorcan's face first into that same apron with that same hardest part of the ring, and the match just keeps going, which is fine and wonderful. Uppercut by Lorcan, some chops and some uppercuts, lariat by Sullivan, but that gut-wrench powerbomb maneuver by Sullivan gets the win, and he continues to beat up Oney Lorcan after the match, who's saved by Danny Burch. Now, I had a big long diatribe about tag teams being used to put over singles guys in NXT, because it's a very, very obvious pattern. Now, if you can't tell that they're going to be making Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch a tag team, you're not watching the show. But in this case, I think it works, because you've got a monster like Lars Sullivan, who is the Braun Strowman of NXT. So I'm assuming he's going to fight Burch next week. I'm assuming he's going to fight both of them the week after. It's the same thing as they did with Ember Moon when they were building Ember Moon, and they had her facing both members of the iconic duo, and now they're doing the same thing with Ruby Riott. Well, they're doing the same thing in the men's division, which is great. They're doing the same thing with Johnny Gargano taking on Tito Giabarelli and Gimmick Lost. But it's becoming an overplayed thing, even though it's effective, even though it works. And it's a great way to take a story and make it last a few weeks. You're going to the well once too often with that type of story. But in this situation, like I say, I really hope it ends up being a triple threat. at TakeOver Houston. Because, as I say, Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch are going to become a tag team. But I can see them being a tag team sort of in the vein of Sheamus and Cesaro, where, yeah, they like to go out as a team and beat other people up, but for fun, they could beat each other up, too. Another really, really dated example would be like sort of a Mick Foley a Mick Foley Terry Funk type of rivalry where they love each other, and they really, really care for each other, really respect each other, and as a team, they can go beat up, you know, so the New Age Outlaws or whatever, but given the chance, they'll also beat the crap out of each other. So that's why them as a tag team being in this triple threat scenario could work. We go to the back with Ruby Riot, who's cutting a promo, and I like Ruby Riot even on the mic, because she's just such a fun character, and she's just one of those characters that I'm so afraid of WWE's booking that she's never going to be the focus. Nikki Cross might, Liv Morgan might, Aaliyah might, Sonya Deville might. I don't see it happening with Ruby Riot, and that sucks a whole bunch. Basically, they talk about the issues that she has with the Iconic Duo, the fact that Nikki Cross was, you know, jumped up to be her tag team partner, but then left in that tag team scenario, the fact that the Iconic Duo want a rematch with her, the fact that Nikki Cross may join her again. She wants to join, that's fine, but she better not get in my way. It's what I say about NXT so often. It doesn't drag. It's short, it's sweet, it's to the point. It's good. Gets us back to the wrestling. And speaking of the wrestling, we've got Heavy Machinery taking on Jobbers, which is just fun. And again, it's one of those things that would drive me nuts on any other show, on any other brand. But the fact that they keep giving Heavy Machinery jobbers to wrestle, it's just super, super fun. I didn't write down the jobbers' names, because it doesn't matter. Hip toss by Knight and a wrist lock, and he puts him in a wrist lock, and because the guy's obviously, he's a jobber, he's a lot smaller than Heavy Machinery, he's got him in a wrist lock, and he does the thing that Undertaker used to do when he was the American Badass, put him in a wrist lock, and then lift him up by the arm in that sort of posted position, which looks painful as hell. Trapped arm suplex by Knight, and a double tackle by both members of Heavy Machinery, a double headbutt by both members of Heavy Machinery, a bear hug by Otis, an overhead suplex by Otis, and an elbow drop splash by Otis in the corner, and a 4-man compactor. One member of Heavy Machinery lands on the other one, lands on one of their opponents, lands on the opponent that's on the ground. It's a disgusting, like, normally when I say pile of people, I mean like Elimination Chamber, I mean Money in the Bank, I mean the Royal Rumble, I mean any Battle Royal that they have on Raw or SmackDown. Any match you have with Heavy Machinery is a pile of people, and it's a lot of fun to watch. They're not the most technical guys out there. They're not going to be putting on Revival versus DIY Classics, but they're not meant to. And I think they know that, and they know their lane, and they stay in their lane, and they're out there and they're having fun with the crowd. And I mean, like, their tag team chant is stakes and weights. So you can tell they're not taking themselves too seriously. They're a lot of fun. I don't know how you get there, but I would love to have a rivalry between these guys and the Street Profits. They're both baby faces, which makes that a little bit more awkward unless you want to go the sportsman route. But I think between the Red Solo Cup of Street Profits versus these guys with the stakes and weights, there's going to be some joke there where, you know, you bring the beer, we'll bring the meat, or some shit like that, and it could be really good. Street Profits weren't on this show tonight, and that's kind of unfortunate. Regal, once again, and here's where I think NXT tries a little too hard. They always try to have, oh, something was going on, and by the way, we got distracted and we found out this. So they have William Regal in the middle of a fake interview. He stops the fake interview when he sees Johnny Gargano going by, and he says Johnny Gargano has been granted a rematch against Andrade Cien Almas in 2 weeks on SmackDown, or on NXT, sorry. Which is fine. I mean, I've been saying it to you guys the past couple of weeks. I still don't like Andrade Cien Almas, but I'm at least warming up to him as an in-ring competitor because he's getting better as an in-ring competitor, because his gimmick isn't that he's a wrestler that doesn't care about wrestling anymore. He's now a wrestler that is motivated by the hot chick in his corner, which is as played out as you can get. But he's better in the ring because of it, and Johnny Gargano's Johnny Gargano. In my opinion, I'm totally biased. He can't do any wrong. William Regal goes back to his fake interview where they were asking him about TakeOver, and he says, what are we going to do for TakeOver Houston? Well, after what I did at TakeOver Brooklyn, it's always a race to get to the next thing, to get to the next, you know, you always got to top yourself. And he says, I have a lot of surprises for TakeOver. And that's the end of the interview. So we learned a whole lot of nothing about TakeOver. We learned about the Fatal 4-Way for the women's title before, so that's not a surprise anymore. So William Regal basically came out to tell us that there are surprises, but he's not going to tell us what they are because they're surprises. Liv Morgan, who I'm a mark for. I don't care. People don't like her. People think she's annoying. People think her music sucks. Goofball from New York, I'm looking at you. I like Liv Morgan a whole lot. She's got a whole lot more potential in the ring than anybody gives her credit for, as do most of the people that I like. See my thoughts on The Miz a couple of years ago versus where The Miz is now. Taking on Vanessa Bourne, who, I'm sorry, doesn't really impress me. She's capable in the ring. She's a very capable other body for whoever you're watching in the ring, which is fine. There's a collar and elbow tie-up, a few reversals, and a slap on the ass from Vanessa Bourne to Liv Morgan, which... Again, I tie that into a lot of things I say about Naomi in the realm of the era where we're trying to bolster up women's wrestling and show how athletic people are, and you know, women can do it too, and women can main event shows, and women can be a big deal and all that. You got Naomi shoving her crotch in people's face, and you got this chick walking onto NXT and smacking her opponents in the ass. But, yeah, double leg drop and a few pins later by Liv Morgan, a matrix and a faceplant by Morgan, and a double leg drop to the back of the neck. Double leg drop to the back of the neck was fucking great. Bourne comes back with a really messy snake eyes bulldog type thing, followed by a snap suplex, which was at least better than what she did previously. Kitchen sink and a spear style roll up by Morgan. She goes in like it's a spear, like I think somebody in my Q&A actually referred to Edge's spear as the hug spear, which I never really thought of it that way before, but, you know, props to you for that. It's kind of true. But she goes at her like a spear, but turns it into a roll-up, which is kind of cool. Running facebuster, lariat, step-up enziguri, double foot stomp, bulldog. All by Morgan, all in a row. Finishes it off with a rebound running codebreaker for the win. Now, this is cool. I was really afraid that they were just going to bring in like all the second, third round eliminates from the Mae Young Classic and just give them instant wins on NXT as soon as they got there, especially versus Liv Morgan, who they haven't really pushed recently. And just because you're new doesn't mean you should win. Now, when Dakota Kai comes to the NXT roster, if they get their hands on Toni Storm or Piper Niven, yes, they should come in and destroy people. But Vanessa Bourne, realistically, other than being, like I said, she's very capable as that other body. But that other body is not meant to stand in the spotlight. And, like I said, she did the really messy Snake Eyes facebuster thing and followed it up with a snap suplex. So she hit a really messy move followed by an okay move, and then got her ass handed to her by Liv Morgan for the rest of the match. My hat's off to Liv Morgan, 100%. Wish we saw her more on TV, but that's okay. Yeah, Vanessa Bourne, better than Bianca Belair. I'll give her that. We replay the interaction between Aleister Black and the Velveteen Dream, and I cringe just a little bit because they're wasting Aleister Black on the Velveteen Dream, which is kind of sad. We have the debut of Fabien Eichner, who was apparently in the Cruiserweight Classic. They showed a quick little highlight reel of him being in the Cruiserweight Classic and how he lost so much weight to be in the Cruiserweight Classic. He's significantly bulked up since then. He wants to take on the heavyweight division. At least that's what Nigel McGuinness tells us as he's coming to the ring. I didn't remember this guy. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't go... When I heard that he was debuting like 2 days ago, my first reaction, honestly, was, who the fuck was that again? And no, I'm lazy. I didn't go back and look. So that's what that is. So this is basically a brand new guy to NXT. For me, taking on Cassius Ohno, who, again, when he came back, I've said this 100 times, and I will keep saying it, because people think I'm being a dick, and I'm really not trying to be a dick. I wish I cared about Cassius Ohno. I just don't. There's maybe 20 other people on NXT that I care about more than Cassius Ohno. I would rather see the Velveteen Dream, because at least I have an opinion on him. My opinion is I hope he gets his ass kicked, and I hope Aleister Black puts a foot through the back of his skull, but at least I care about something about him. I don't like you. I want you to lose. If I want you to lose, then there's a reason for you to be on my TV. If I just don't care, there's no reason for me to be on my TV. Versus a guy who I don't really know, but a guy who impressed the hell out of me as we go on. Collar and elbow tie up and a headlock by Ono, who quickly turns it into a cravat. Reversal armbar by Fabien, and he turns it into an uppercut. Boot by Ono, tilt-a-whirl backbreaker by Fabien, and I'm not being a dick here, tilt-a-whirl backbreaker on a guy the size of Cassius Ono is an impressive feat. Tosses Ono to the outside of the ring. Goes for a suicide dive, but it's not a typical suicide dive where you dive through the second and third rope, because, you know, that's dangerous enough. Runs up, halts, springboards off the top, suicide dive from the top rope up the rampway. Fucking insane. He even does the, you know, little crazy motion before he does it. Made me think of, oh, what WrestleMania was it? What WrestleMania was it where Shawn Michaels had the street fight with Vince McMahon, and he's got Vince McMahon on the table, and Vince McMahon is in a trash can on the table, and he's on the top of the ladder, and Jim Ross is going nuts on commentary, and Shawn, who's exhausted at this point, sits at the top of the ladder just doing one of these, and then he gives his elbow drop. That's very much the vibe of this guy Eichner before he did this suicide top rope springboard dive halfway up the rampway, which is good. Delayed vertical suplex by Fabien, followed by an uppercut, followed by a press slam, which, again, I have to hit the point on the head. You got a guy the size of Cassius Ono who's not exactly hiding how big he is. It makes those types of moves more impressive. If you can hit a delayed vertical suplex, meaning you're holding that big friggin' guy up like this for an extended period of time, and you're not, even though you've gained weight, you're not a cruiserweight anymore, you're still not by far the biggest guy on the card. Lot of impressive shit in there. Double springboard moonsault by Fabien, which I do remember from the Cruiserweight Classic, but it misses. He face plants a quick elbow and a boot, which is very, very anticlimactic, by Cassius Ono, gets him the win. I don't know, and this is not my bias against Cassius Ono, when you got a guy just debuting on your roster that had a performance like Fabien Eichner did tonight, I do not know why they wouldn't have given him the win. It's fucking insane, but McIntyre and Strong are fighting next week for the title in a match that's predictable as hell. And I'm not saying predictable as hell because I went ahead and read the spoilers. I'm saying predictable as hell because you know the next true contender to that title is going to be Adam Cole, baby. They show a pretty extensive highlight package from the Cruiserweight Classic showing everything that Kairi Sane accomplished. That's amazing. I don't know if they're going to have her on the show between now and TakeOver Houston, or whether she's just going to show up her first time at the pay-per-view. I don't think they should do that. They should give you at least a couple of sort of auxiliary matches so that the crowd that didn't, for whatever reason, watch the Mae Young Classic can see what she can do in the ring, get used to the gimmick, get used to the pirate thing, the entrance, whatever. It's the same as, and I hate to bounce back and forth to the main roster again, they've announced that Asuka is going to make her Raw debut at TLC. Now, if we don't see Asuka at all until TLC, that's kind of retarded, because Raw is meant for the mainstream audience, and mainstream audience doesn't necessarily watch NXT, or the Mae Young Classic, or TakeOver, or anything like that. So you want to... I'm sure they've heard the hype, but you want to say, okay, this is what the hype was all about, and they're not going to do that. I think they're just going to have her show up at TLC, and that's kind of dumb. It's the same thing here. Show me Kairi Sane in a not in a promo, because there is a little bit of a language barrier, but have her have some kind of segment, confront somebody, at least confront one of the people that that she's going to face at NXT TakeOver Houston. Now, if you get one of the iconic duos, say Billie Kay, for example, is one of the components. You got Kairi Sane, Billie Kay, Nikki Cross, and Ember Moon, for whatever example. So the only real heel in there is Billie Kay. So 1 or 2 weeks before NXT TakeOver Houston, you have Billie Kay trying to make a name for herself, try to punk out Kairi Sane, and Kairi Sane takes her out with the quick elbow, whatever. Give us something before that match actually happens, or you are going to have people in that crowd that don't know who she is, that are going to say, who the fuck is this, and why is she in a title match? I'm not saying that, because I did watch the Mae Young Classic. Go back and check out my reviews. I did, like, 9 reviews in 10 days or some crazy ass shit because I'm crazy. Long story short, they got to show us Kairi Sane before the takeover. Now, Adam Cole, baby, versus Eric Young in the main event. Now, there's a little mini promo at the beginning of this, and I just compared Fabien Eichner to Shawn Michaels. There's a lot of Shawn Michaels vibe with this Adam Cole guy. And I keep saying this Adam Cole guy because he's still new to me. I know there's a lot of you that watch ROH or whatever else he's been in and know all about him. And that's cool. I'm not trying to, like, you know, you guys know that's not my deal. If somebody's new to WWE, I want them to be new to me. But I look at him and I watch him cut a promo, and I watch a couple weeks ago when he set up for that super kick, and I watch him in the ring. There's a lot of Shawn Michaels in Adam Cole. Now, I don't know his background. I don't know if he was ever trained by Shawn Michaels or anything like that. But watch him in the promo. Watch his mannerisms, the way he holds the mic, the way he sort of has this really sarcastic, almost surprised look on his face while he's talking to the crowd. But basically, the sum total of it is, how did this place ever survive without us? You know, we're bringing the winds of change. We are undefeated. We are undisputed. And this is the Undisputed Era, which is still the most ridiculous name for a faction. They are the boys from ROH. And we begin double leg and a beatdown by Eric Young to start, which is great because so many matches on NXT start with a collar and elbow tie-up. And I do, believe it or not, get sick of saying collar and elbow tie-up but forearm by Cole, neckbreaker by Young, cheap shots by Cole, mudhole stomp by Cole, and a hard Irish whip, and followed by some more stomps. Cole rides a headlock. There's a body shot. Sorry, there's a bunch of body shots by Young. Multiple pin attempts by Cole, followed by a headlock, back suplex by Young, a boot, a lariat, and another neckbreaker. The brawl on the outside distracts Young as he's going for the top rope elbow. So instead of dropping the elbow on Adam Cole and getting the win, which would make sense, Eric Young's crazy. So he dropped his elbow on a crowd of people that consisted of Bobby Fish, Kyle O'Reilly, Alexander Wolf, Killian Dane, and probably Nikki Cross. Let's be real for a second. But back in the ring, Eric Young gets back in the ring just in time to get hit by a ridiculous, what looked like a leg lariat, by Adam Cole. The angle that it was shot at was really bad. I rewound it twice, tried to see what it was. It might have been a knee, but it really looked like a leg lariat to get the win. And if that's his finisher, they better either tell him to snap it off better, tell the cameraman how to shoot it better, because it didn't look as devastating as I'm sure it's supposed to be. I'm not gonna lie. I'm sure a leg lariat from a professional wrestler hurts like fuck, but I'm hoping there's something else there. Or maybe this was, okay, there was a distraction, so I hit him with something quick to get a quick win, and we'll see what his finisher is later on. Very impressed with what I saw. I said, again, when these guys from ROH came over, and I wanted to see what the hype was about because I didn't know them. They're not like the TNA guys that came over that I was familiar with, Bobby Roode, AJ Styles, all that sort of thing. These guys are new. So you guys know, as soon as they showed up at TakeOver, as soon as they had their debut matches with Aleister Black, etc., I said, I got no attachment to these guys. Sit back, put my feet up, show me something. I will say, even though one of them looks inbred, all three of them are showing me something. They're a lot of fun. I think to do this group, you had to push Sanity face because they had to have a counterbalance, which is cool. I think eventually, at some point, there's going to be a 3-on-3 match, obviously. Eventually, the Undisputed Era, fucking retarded name, is going to have to get a chick on their side to counterbalance Sanity having Nikki Cross. But in the end, great show overall. Really impressed by Fabien Eichner. Really impressed by Adam Cole, baby. Saw the Brawlers do the brawling thing, which is great. We're probably going to see Danny Burch get in the mix next week. Saw my girl, Liv Morgan, pick up a win, which is awesome. There was no No Way Jose on this show. There was no Andrade Cien Almas on this show. There was no Velveteen Dream on this show. There was no Bianca Belair on this show. I'm having a good night. I've been Spaz, your YWC Reality Check. Subscribe up there, talk down there, start a conversation, keep all of these conversations going, don't be a stranger. I'll talk to each and every last one of you later, but for right now, I am tagging out. Bye, guys.